Welcome back to Twin Tarot. I'm Gary, and this is not David and Lemonhead. And not Gary's in the background there. Hey, how you folks doing? It's Monday night. It's about 8 o'clock at night. I just wanted to get on. We're going to do Taco Tuesday tonight when you see this video, because I'll release this video at midnight Pacific time. So unless you're in Hawaii, it's going to be tonight when you watch this. We'll do Taco Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time with Marina and see what's going on in the world. But I thought I'd do a quick reading tonight. What was very interesting, what has happened is Trump has tacoed yet again. The war in Iran is not going exactly the way he wants it to go. And he issued a ultimatum to Iran that they had 48 hours to open up the Strait of Hormuz, or really bad things were going to happen. Trump was going to, hold his breath until he turned blue or something, whatever his threat was going to be. And shortly after that, he backtracked, and because peace negotiations were making such great progress, he gave him a 5-day reprieve. What seems to be happening, and what was very interesting, was Iran, within 20 minutes of Trump's threat, or Trump saying that he was, basically going to give them 5 days, as Iran came on with social media and said, I don't know what peace negotiations you're talking about. We just told you that if you bomb our civilian electrical grid or electrical power generation, we're going to target a whole bunch of electrical and water desalinization facilities along the what they call Western Asia, but it's like the Gulf states. And Trump backed down, because I'm sure the folks in the Gulf states and probably some of the NATO allies said, first of all, bombing civilian infrastructure is a war crime. Ask Putin. But it's going to escalate this thing and really spin this thing out of control. So Trump needed to do something to save face. And so he's claiming that peace negotiations are making great progress. Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff are doing this commendable bang-up job with these peace negotiations. And it's just really sad, because as a citizen of the United States, I have a choice between believing our president's social media statement and the country of Iran's social media statement. And it's really sad when I believe the Iranian social media statement over our own countries. We are definitely the bad guys here. We are, for you Star Trek or Star Wars fans, we are the First Order here. So, that's kind of sad that we have fallen so far that the Iranians' messaging is more credible. We've basically become Baghdad Bob here. And that's really sad. But I want to do a reading on what is it going to look like over the next 5 days. I think part of the reason why Trump did this announcement is because the stock market was really poised to go, and oil prices were going to go. And because he said, peace talks are going so well and we've got an imminent deal coming, that the markets were being more optimistic than they should be. And so I'll take a look. Gary, the analyst, thinks that right now Iran has more leverage than Trump would care to admit. And that if Trump comes up with some sort of peace agreement, it's not going to be what he wants. He's not going to be able to extract all the demands and all the commands that he wants to give them and get from them. he could continue bombing his little Mary heart out as he said he would do if they don't reach a peace agreement. But Iran has surprisingly good leverage for the position that they're in. So I want to see how these peace negotiations, quote unquote, go over the next 5 days. And then we'll look at the political and financial ramifications of these peace negotiations. And then let's not forget that on Saturday, March 28th, is the next No Kings March. So for entertainment purposes only, what's their energy around the peace talks over the next 5 days? Four of Swords. I love it when it's a one card reading. I don't need to throw anything more than that. In a shameless self plug, back in like February, March of last year, I did a video on when are we going to be done with the Trump administration, and I kept getting the Knight of Wands, when Congress takes action and, the justice system takes action. And then I did a follow-up in December. It's like November, December, how much longer do we have with this twit? And I got the Four of Swords as the outcome, which was basically, I translated that to mean it's probably March, or what's going to lead to his being ousted from power or losing his power or entering lame duck status would happen in month 3, but maybe it really manifests in month 4. So it's actions that were taken in month 3. You could look back and say, okay, that's what caused it. And in month 4, he was basically, his power was gone. Either, he's not on the planet, he's not an effective leader anymore. And here we go. So how are the peace negotiations going to go over the next 5 days? Four of Swords. It's going to have a calming effect, but it's also one of the things that you should have thought about your actions before you took them, is kind of how I take that card. Challenge, heartbreak, betrayal. Just all of the actions that Trump took, and he might not have much to show for it. He may claim victory and all these wonderful things, but the challenge is MAGA is completely, they're eating themselves alive right now. I walked by a gas station today. Gas was, in California, it was $6.59 a gallon. It was a Chevron station that had a gas station, or had a car wash attached. So if you got gas with a car wash, it was $6.59 a gallon. Otherwise, it was 30 cents a gallon more. So it was $6.89 a gallon for probably super. At Costco, it was a little cheaper. I think super was $5.69 and regular was $5.29. But, MAGA's not used to this. This is actually hitting them where it hurts, right? Where they're driving around in their big ass pickup truck. All of a sudden, they're spending $100, $125 to fill up the tank on that bad boy. That's a tabletop issue that MAGA isn't going to be happy with Trump. And those prices are not going to come down right away, and it's going to trickle into other things like food and other things. Anything that's shipped by truck or plane or boat is going to get impacted by this. And we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg of this. Energy underneath is the King of Pentacles. So what are we going to see over the next 5 days? There's going to be negotiations and a de-escalation, whether it's temporary or not. The betrayal of all the actions that were taken that were probably unnecessary. I mean, the Gulf of Hormuz is only closed because Trump decided to bomb the crap out of Iran. Energy underneath is King of Pentacles. Trump is going to try and use his military might as leverage in these negotiations. In the past, the death card. Well, it's certainly, he killed off a lot of the current administration or the previous administration. He brought a lot of things to an end. He killed a lot of people, and you know, maybe he stalled out their nuclear enrichment program for temporarily. I mean, I'm not going to say that he permanently did it because he did that back in November when they bombed him the first time. This also could be, a lot of the Muslim countries or the Gulf countries, the death to America chants, that was definitely in the past. Current energy is Queen of Wands. You got a lot of work to do over the next 5 days. There are a lot of actions that need to be taken to make progress on peace talks. Overarching energy is the Knight of Pentacles. It seems like over the next 5 days, it's things are going to calm down a bit. This I take as two ways. People sitting back and seeing what is it you're going to offer me. It could be the U.S., could be Iran. It's also the stock market. What are the investment markets looking? They're sitting back and they're assessing, how is this going? Are you taking action, meaningful actions? The lesson to be learned that you really need to think about the big picture. It's one of those things where the Six of Pentacles is about giving back. Give a little, but everyone, if you give back, you can benefit greatly. And it's one of those things where Trump just decided he's got missiles. I've got all the power. I've got all of the assets. I'm going to use them. This is a case where kindness and generosity probably could have been a better solution. But it's also, it could also be that Trump's going to have to give back. That he's not going to get everything he wants. That he's going to have to compromise here. And you know how much he likes compromising. Outcome, Page of Swords. This could be one of two things. Either new ideas coming forth, or we go right back to our reckless ways and go right back to the fighting and the rhetoric. Let's just get a clarifier. Give me a clarifier on the Page of Swords. What are we talking about here? Are these new ideas, fresh ideas, or is this back to reckless behavior? You got the Chariot, which is kind of, to me, this is like the military starts grinding out again. I'm not optimistic right now with these cards. I think people are kind of holding their breath, trying to see what happens. But to me, it's like, I think the Chariot might be signifying boots on the ground type of activity, unfortunately. How are the financial markets going to behave over the next 5 days? I guess I already know it's going to be like the Knight of Pentacles. Because the financial markets will sniff out the crap really fast. If Trump's bullshitting, the financial markets will figure it out quick. So what are the financial markets going to look like after 5 days? Temperance. Okay. They're looking for a balance. A calming of the emotions. People settling down and assessing what's happening. Let's just do a 4-carder. The 10 of Cups, the happy family. Hey, everything's going to work out just fine. We're going to calm down, and the markets are going to react positively. 7 of Swords. However, there's stuff happening behind the scenes that maybe the market's not focused on the right thing right now. They're too busy being relaxed and celebrating these quote-unquote peace talks when in fact they should be aware of what's going on around them, because there's something bad that's happening. Something's being taken away. And then you got the Tower, that it's coming. Something's coming to an abrupt end. And then the World, which is the end of the cycle. I kind of wonder if the stock market initially is going to, and it has, initially is going to rally with optimism, but they're going to realize that what's really happening behind the scenes or what's happening, around them, they're going to see the collapse happening, and that the end of this cycle is coming. It could be basically we start going into a bear run. Once again, I'm not optimistic, and usually I'm very optimistic, but like I said, what if I've got a choice to believe the Iranian social media post or the United States social media post? I'm kind of leaning towards the Iranian one. I have little doubt that there's back channel communications going on. It sounds like Egypt and maybe some other countries are kind of relaying messages, but those messages might not be getting to the people they need to get to. All right. No King's March is coming up on Saturday. How is that going to... that was a terrible shuffle. How is that going to play out? Trump doesn't like dissent. So, and you got millions of people hitting the streets with no kings. I'm sure he's not going to be happy. But what do we need to know about the No King's March coming up on March 28th? And I'm sure Dave and I will do a reading on this soon enough. Foundational reading, Sun card. A light is going to be shined. The truth is out there, and people are going to be out there exercising their First Amendment rights and shining a light on what's going on. Ace of Wands, a new action being taken. It's basically taking your country back. Because we've got someone that's sitting like a king, and he's being ruled and supporting the oligarchs. Ruled by oligarchs, supporting oligarchs. The other clarifier is the King of Swords. But there's a harsh truth that we need to share about the oligarchs. It's basically, do you want to be ruled by the rich, or do you want to be ruled by the just? And it's time for, underneath this Seven of Wands, time to take action. Take back your country. Defend your democracy. I suspect, no points to Gary, I suspect this is going to be a very, very, very big turnout. It will probably dwarf the previous No Kings rallies. Once again, I don't get bonus points for that. I think anyone can look at what's been happening over the last 2-3 months and come to the same conclusion. I don't need a tarot card for that. But I think these protests on March 28th are going to be ginormous. And hopefully it will start swaying our ineffective members of Congress to get off their tails and do their damn jobs. Wouldn't that be a nice change? And that's what I got for you, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're free tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific time, tune in to Marina's channel. That's Heart Centered Tarot. And Dave and I will be doing a live stream with Marina. It goes for an hour, and it's a good time. Marina's channel's really taken off. She's probably going to pass me. Yeah, she's going to pass the Twin channel probably by the end of summer with the number of subscribers. She's really just firing on all cylinders, so I'm really happy for her. And thank you all for tuning in. We truly appreciate you. And the card for all of us, we got the Eight of Wands. Tune in on the airwaves. Watch Dave and I. We're not quite as loose and crazy as we are in our own live streams, but we're not contained either. So poor Marina's got her hands full with us. Anyways, I hope you all have a great day. The Insomnia Club, I hope you get some sleep, and I'll catch you soon. Take care, folks. Bye.